From one of the most devastated countries in World War II to being split into two countries and becoming the pillar of the EU and its largest economy, Germany's journey is nothing short of remarkable. We'll take a deep dive into the fascinating story of Germany's economic rise, its rich history, and its influential role on the global stage. Though it's easy to forget that as the Federal Republic of Germany entered the 21st century, it was known as this sick man of Europe, averaging a GDP growth rate of just 1.2% per year between 1998 and 2005. To understand, we need to start from the beginning, the German economic miracle. After World War II, Germany was divided. There was a capitalist West and a communist East. The West was about 2.5 times bigger with a similar population. Germany was in ruins after the war. Production had dropped by a third, and millions were homeless. But in the 1950s, something amazing happened, the German economic miracle. Germany's economy grew by about 8% each year, and it became Europe's biggest economy. People often say that West Germany benefited from the US Marshall Plan after the war, which is true. Britain got more aid than West Germany, $2.7 billion compared to $1.7 billion. West Germans got about $1.33 per person. But this doesn't explain everything about West Germany's success. This is where Ludwig Erhard comes in. He was an economist and wrote a daring paper during World War II, suggesting what might happen if the Nazis lost. US Army intelligence noticed his ideas, and he became a key figure in West Germany's economic transformation. He became the chancellor and made some big changes. He reduced the amount of money in circulation by 93% overnight to make people trust the currency. He also got rid of price controls, which had led to a big black market economy. But his most famous idea was the social market economy, which mixed free market ideas with social security protections. Ludwig's bold moves worked, and the economy got much better. By 1958, industrial output was 4 times higher than a decade earlier. We'll talk about the 4 key factors later. West Germany became a big exporter. East Germany. But to go back to the original question of how Germany became the sick man of Europe, this has a lot to do. A big part of this story is the reunification of East and West Germany. While West Germany was doing great, East Germany, the part under communist rule, was struggling. By the time the Berlin Wall fell, East German productivity was only about half of West Germany's. Up until the early 1970s, East Germany was growing, but then the economy became more centralized and less innovative. This made it less competitive and led to stagnation and decline. Though it's worth noting that East Germany was starting from a lower point. If you look at this table, you'll see that the total war damage per person was much higher in the East, mainly because of harsh war reparations by the Soviets and the dismantling of industries, reunification. So what happened economically during reunification? To prevent mass migration from East to West Germany, the West German government promised to bring the East up to the same standards, including equalizing wages within 5 years. They started by abolishing the East German Central Bank and handing control to the West German Central Bank, the Bundesbank. This meant replacing the weaker East German currency with the much stronger Deutsche Mark. But this move posed a fundamental question: at what exchange rate should they set the conversion? Historically, East Germany tried to fix their weaker currency at a 1-to-1 rate, which wasn't realistic. However, adopting the true market rate would have devastated the fragile East German economy. So, they compromised by allowing a 1-to-1 exchange rate for a limited amount of money, with less favorable rates for larger amounts. While this solved an immediate issue, it meant that East German businesses had to compete with West German ones at the same exchange rate, which many couldn't do. The solution was massive fiscal transfers from the wealthy West to help develop the East. This kind of monetary union without fiscal union can be problematic. The government spent over $2 trillion on these transfers over the years, partly funded by the solidarity tax, an additional 5% tax on income for most citizens. Reunification created a significant strain on the German economy, disrupting its equilibrium as two very different economic systems integrated. This is often cited as a reason for Germany's sick man of Europe status in the 1990s and early 2000s, with debt rising from 40% to 67% and unemployment peaking at over 11% in 2005. But today, Germany is an exporting powerhouse, as this graph shows. It doesn't mean they export the most, but they have the largest positive surplus in the world. This leads us to wonder, even though nearly a century has passed, today's Germany remains similar to its historical self. It still has a strong advanced industry, high innovation, and lots of scientific progress. In 2020, German companies and the government invested over 100 billion euros in research and development, more than 3% of GDP. This beats countries like Italy and the UK. German children go to different schools based on their academic skills. This helps talented students get advanced education, which benefits innovative German companies. Not so academic students can enter vocational training. This trains them for jobs and combines study with work experience. Germany's unique education system and a long tradition of entrepreneurship, innovation, and industry drive its success. The Mittelstand. Why small and medium-sized businesses matter for Germany's exports. While big German brands like Mercedes, Volkswagen, Siemens, and Bosch are well known worldwide, around 2/3 of Germany's exports come from small to medium-sized enterprises known as the Mittelstand. These are family-owned businesses that are the backbone of the German economy. The Mittelstand companies are spread across the country, with 70% located in small cities or rural areas. These businesses prioritize customer value, maintain close relationships with clients, rely on their in-house technical expertise, and foster strong employee relationships. This trust with employees helps keep wage growth steady. These businesses have a long-term perspective, thinking in decades rather than financial quarters. They prefer cash investments over debt and invest more in research and development, registering 5 times more patents per employee than larger companies. Instead of outsourcing components, they often build them in-house for quality control. Many of these companies are hidden champions, globally ranking among the top 3 in their specialty, but with little public recognition. The Mittelstand actively targets sectors too complex for the smallest companies, but not large enough for corporations, becoming leaders in business-to-business transactions. Germany's unique solution to the skilled labor challenge is worth exploring. Challenges: Germany's economic hurdles. Despite its successes, the German economy faces several challenges. One of the significant challenges arises from its massive trade surplus. While having a trade surplus is generally seen as positive, Germany's surplus is unique. Firstly, Germany is a key player in the Eurozone, but it runs large surpluses with some of its neighbors, accumulating vast amounts of euros that don't always circulate within the Eurozone. This has raised concerns about suppressing growth in other Eurozone nations and potentially destabilizing the currency bloc. Secondly, Germany's export-oriented success makes it highly dependent on other countries buying its products. A downturn in global trade, as witnessed in 2019, can significantly impact Germany's economic growth. Coupled with worries about protectionist trade policies, this poses a threat to Germany's growth model. Criticism has also been directed at Germany for its relatively low domestic consumption rate, which hinders efforts to boost domestic demand. However, this is partly due to historical lessons learned from hyperinflation. Additionally, Germany faces an aging population, which is more pronounced than in many other countries. The population is expected to start declining before 2030, and there will be more people aged over 65 in the workforce than those under 20. This presents challenges for future demand, although not necessarily labor supply due to increasing automation. These challenges require careful consideration for Germany's economic future. Conclusion: to sum up, Germany's economy is tough. It can handle tough times well. Some say this is because of smart money plans and businesses you might not know about, called Mittelstand. Germany sells more than it buys from other countries, which is good, but it also causes a big problem. So here's the question: Can you have too much of a good thing? Now it's your turn. Do you think Germany's economy is great? Does the euro help Germany more than other places? Tell us what you think in the comments. If you like this video, please subscribe and give it a thumbs up. That helps our channel a lot. And like always, we'll see you in the next video.